Hi, my name is Alexis. I'm a relationship therapist. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to overcome emotional dependency after a breakup. Breakups can be traumatic experiences, and if you feel that you're having a hard time, let me guide you and show you how you can feel better right away. Jingle.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So in this video, we're going to talk about codependency, and it's probably the reason you're having a hard time right now to deal with this breakup. I'm going to explain how you can reinforce and strengthen self-respect. And at the end, I'm going to list some exercises for you to heal. So bear with me till the end. First of all, one definition of codependency. Codependency is a pattern of excessive emotional reliance on others, often stemming from a need for approval and validation, and that can affect negatively your self-esteem and emotional well-being. Relying on others for emotional support, there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is the excess of it. Same when it comes to recognition, validation. I think it's healthy to seek any form of validation or recognition. For instance, when I post a video, I like when I get a lot of likes on YouTube or Instagram. And if you like this video, like as well, because it also helps me promote my work as well. But let's talk about you. The thing is really about this excess, this default position where you start the narrative of your story not feeling good enough. And I'm going to explain in a minute in detail. One very interesting definition of codependency is to say that codependency is the addiction to looking elsewhere. And when we say this, is the idea that we have a deep need, which is pretty much toxic, to look outside, to look elsewhere, implying that your value, your well-being depends on others. And the addiction meaning that you can't live without it and you need more of it every single day. And it's never enough for you. So the idea here in this video is to explain how you can set new baseline for yourself. So dependency is the fear of rejection, fear of abandonment. It's very linked with anxious attachment style. That's the idea of when you grew up with the experience that you were not lovable, right? Many ways, there are thousands of ways, and I'll list them at the end. Not thousands, but few ways of few rational. So it could be family dynamics, trauma, neglect. I see it as a spectrum. Some people would have had very difficult childhood. Some people have few interactions with their siblings, difficult interaction with their siblings or with their father, with their mother, and they would develop a form of codependency. The problem is that it would lead to lack of confidence and low self-esteem. And after a breakup, when we have a baseline that is already with low self-esteem and lack of self-confidence, then it's even worse. That's what I want you to do, is to really build up that confidence and self-esteem. The other thing is, the mechanic is, again, as I discussed, you're looking for something and someone to fill a void. And you become obsessed, the addiction. Obsessed, I need this person in my life. I can't live without her or without him. Addiction is not love. The reason you're having a hard time right now is you have withdrawal symptoms of someone who's addicted. Love is not an addiction. Addiction is toxic. Love shouldn't be toxic. So here's the good news. You are the solution. The solution is within yourself. The solution is really about recreating your story. You are your worst enemy, and at the same time the solution. That's not about your ex. That's not about of course, your ex triggered something. Of course, your parents are responsible, or different adults that helped you grow up as a child, define the person you are. But today you have the ability to change this, to unlearn those beliefs and to deconstruct those patterns. That's basically what we do in therapy. We help people to recognize those patterns, to recognize those blind spots that I like to refer them to, and to deconstruct, to replace them with something healthy. What we do in counseling, we try to get people to dissociate. I call it the deconstructive one because you can have toxic dissociation, but here is able to detach. When it's unhealthy, we feel numb, we don't want to do anything, we feel completely detached, like we're not in control of our life. In this context, in the context of heartbreak, it's really about finding that dissociation where you can gain more awareness of the root cause of the pain, and looking at the story from a third party. Looking at the scene. Act as if you were looking at yourself, as if you were talking to yourself, as if you're your best friend. Trust me, it's extremely powerful when you start zooming out and looking at your situation as if you're someone else. Belief system. Beliefs are shape our emotions and actions. So the common codependent beliefs, and there are many, but maybe you're going to recognize yourself in one of those, is I'm not enough. I need others to be happy. My worth depends on others. And these are amplified after a breakup. The I'm not enough, when you are rejected, when someone decides to end a relationship, you default by I'm not. That's why he dumps me, because I'm not good enough. I need others to be happy. That's even worse after a breakup because you're the most important person in your life took this away from you. Okay, and you're fighting. That's why it's so hard for you to deal with this situation. Let me give you some examples. First belief, my self-worth depends on my relationship status. What could happen is you might quickly rebound because you seek validation from another person. So it's very, very frequent that people who have an anxious attachment style, for example, they rebound very quickly and they start the same relationship. They continue the same patterns. And when you do that, you don't address your feelings, you don't address your insecurity, and you fail to develop self-love. You just basically replace an object to another one, an addiction to something. It's like people who stop smoking, they stop smoking and they start eating junk food. Another example, if I'm not in a relationship, I'm a failure. This one I hear that very often. The thing is, after a breakup, you ruminate on the reason for the breakup and you blame yourself entirely. A breakup is always 50-50. Even though your ex took the decision, he or she bears a lot of responsibility in that breakup. And so when you do that, when you are blaming yourself entirely, you create a vicious circle of self-criticism, of negative self-talk. Instead, what you should do is recognize that, as I said, relationships involve two people. And even though that's your ex who took the decision, he or she is at blame. Now it's time to respect yourself. Acknowledge your emotions, acknowledge your feelings and your needs. This is the time for you to set healthy boundaries. That's why you go no contact. Your ex decided to end the relationship. You're not there to support them. You're not there if they need you. To start with, maybe who knows? Things will be differently. Things will unfold in the right direction if you want to get back together. But right now, it's really about changing your priorities, and it's very interesting because priority shouldn't be a plural word. Priority should be a singular word, but we say priorities anyway. You are the priority. There's only one priority and it's you. And you have to take care of that person. That's why self-care is so important. Developing self-compassion is so, so important. And learn to be more independent. Challenge yourself being more independent, being more autonomous. Maybe something new to you is the classic, let's step outside of your comfort zone. And your comfort zone is to be attached to someone, is to be relying on someone. Why don't you try to explore outside of this comfort zone. So, few self-care exercises. Journaling, you can reflect on feelings and thoughts. You can practice gratitude. Mindfulness, when I say mindfulness, not necessarily listening to 30 minutes of mindful tapes, which could be really noticing. So that's what I do with my clients, and that's what we do in the program that I've launched this week, is really about taking the time to catch any negative thoughts, to bring that awareness and to change the course of those thoughts. So I've developed a workbook. I forgot to mention that I've developed a workbook for you to feel better after a breakup. There's a link in the description for you to download this workbook. The idea of this workbook is to have and provide a written format on top of those slides and different presentations that I'm doing on healing. Because I know it's very confusing. I know there's a lot of information, but with this workbook, you have a structured way for you to reflect, to progress. It's basically the workbook that I use with my clients when they have a problem and they go through those exercises. It's self-paced, but it gives you a structure. So have a look and download your workbook if you want to take notes, if you really want to get going. The problem with listening to videos, watching videos, that sometimes we feel we are learning something, but we don't do anything. So take action, get this workbook, try to do some exercises, reflect. Let me know in the comment section if you found any help. If you want to connect with me as part of the workbook, you also get access to Telegram. You can ask me questions as well. So get your hand on that. Reflecting, so counseling, support groups, so the Telegram, any other groups that you'll find. And keep on learning. Keep on learning. This traumatic, painful experience is an opportunity for you to learn, is an opportunity for you to address things you haven't really addressed since you're a child. Take care of yourself. I see you next time. Bye-bye. Power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer.